Oh, I got a great topic for you today. It might get my wife a little upset, but who knows? Maybe she'll watch it and she'll understand her husband of 23 years a little better. Is it going to be 24 this year? No, it's going to be 23 this next week. So, I spend a lot of time, right? For those of you who don't know me, or even if you watch this channel all the time, you still might not know like about me, and that's one of the issues with the with a lot of channels. You really don't get to know the uh the author, the person making the videos, and that's fine. That's one of the great things about the internet is your anonymity. You get to stay anonymous. Oh, a lot of copper. Well, I don't know about a lot. Oh, look at that, the first coin. You see that, the very first coin. I think it's a Canadian. I'll keep the little pointer here in case we find anything interesting. I so I'll tell you a little something about myself. I watch what a beauty, man, what a stunner. 93. I think it's copper. I'm pretty sure it's copper. I forgot what year they stopped making copper. Was it 2012? I forgot. And that's a stunner, man. Let's see if there's any little mark on her face there. It looks like a tear, right? I'm gonna take a picture of this one. It looks like a tear. That's so crazy. These are, believe it or not, it's. I'm gonna say stupid. It's stupid things like this that people is that now. Where would a tear come from? Would it come from the back of the eye or the front of the eye? I don't know. I don't know. I can't tell. From the front, right? Shouldn't it be like, I don't know. I like it right there too, over the cheek. Wow, that's something else, man. Let me take a picture of that. All right, see if I remember. I'll put it into a flip. I'll sell it as a as as the queen is crying coin. People make up stupid names like that all the time. Anyway, so what does Jesse do all day long? For the most part, I watch videos. That's a nice 2024 about the economy. The state of the economy, what's going on. I don't own stocks. I mean, I have the little account with E Trade. That was more of an experimental thing. I actually opened up a what's that called on it, a playlist. I never, my personal business never really took off enough for me to have that much disposable money to screw around with the stock market, like to drop thousands of dollars, like so that playlist really never took off, or another side channel never took off. No idea. And I pay attention to the economy because I I don't want to say I collect anything, because I really don't collect anything. I invest in tangible assets. Okay, that means I buy stuff as a hedge against inflation. That's what I do. Okay, all right. To make it very simply, that's what I do. I buy stuff to hedge against inflation. The expensive stuff I keep in my safety deposit box. Like gold bars and all that stuff are in the safety deposit box. Copper penny number two, and the other things that I might list, or like for example, like the coins. I did videos on the coins, the graded coins. They're selling for like, they're still selling for like 3, 4, $5 for MS 68s. It's ridiculous. It costs $20 to get a coin graded, and this guy Sirius cards, whatever, is selling graded coins for $5, $6 in auction. And you watch the auction. He has a great system. They're 50 cents each extra coin, so you save $4 on each extra coin you buy. And I was like, I can't let this go, because this isn't. It's that's fantasy world there. You understand? I know that that's fantasy land. In 10 years from now, those graded coins are going to be 20, 30, 40, $50 a piece that I paid $2, $3, $4, $5 for. And that's a great return on investment. What else? Oh, obviously these pennies, right? Each one of these pennies that's copper is going to be worth, this might be worth already 50 cents or a quarter, that one, right? So that's a great return on investment. You spend a penny and you get back 5 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents. If you find a good era, it's free money, man. It's like money. These little penny rolls are like money trees. So even though I don't own stocks, I pay very close attention to stocks because it's a very good indicator of how the economy is doing, right? How broke people are. Now, okay, so stocks is one thing that I pay attention to. Interest rates are another thing I pay attention to. I'm gonna throw this one out. I won't even put this with my other pennies. Because when interest rates go up, so does inflation. Excuse me. When interest rates go down, inflation goes up, right? So that's an indicator to me that people are going to stop borrowing. Nobody wants to work, man. Okay, let's get that. Let's get that 1 point straight right now. Nobody wants to go in. Doctors do not want. Have you spent any time with a doctor in the past 5-10 years? Right, definitely since COVID. They are resentful about getting up. They went to college for all these years, and here they are helping people who crossed the border, who got free insurance, who whatever, who they probably don't even like. They're supposed to be millionaires, and if you look, go on Indeed and look what they're paying MDs at hospitals: 150,000, 200,000, even 300,000, $400,000, which a lot of them are not making. They have to freaking work 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Okay, be on call so they can have that Mercedes and that mini mansion. That 4 or 5 thousand square foot house in a nice community, and they whatever, they have to work their ass off, and they went to college school for 10, 12 years. They went for a residency for 4 years, and this is where they ended up. They're resentful, man. They don't want to work. Okay, most of them. I'm not saying all of them. A lot of them. Nobody wants to work. So as soon as interest rates start going down, people start taking out loans to follow their dreams. Okay, that's how it works. That's it, plain and simple. That's how it works. And the lower the interest rates go, it's one of the reasons why so many people left the workforce during COVID. Not It's not 100% because of the disease. A lot of it was because interest rates were zero. They were giving out free money, and people said, "All right, I'm going to go buy Pokemon cards and all this other stuff." And still to this day, all that stuff is booming, right? If you go on eBay and you look and you just put in PSA, right, and then you put $2,000 and above for sold items, half of the items that are sold are half or more. So you're talking about out of football, out of all the sports, out of all the other non sports cards, half of what's sold for over $2,000 or more are Pokemon cards. Even though there's an uneven ratio between Pokemon cards and all the other different types of cards, so the rate, and so that's from COVID. Okay, I've been doing sports cards and Pokemon cards for the better part of 15, 16, 17 years. So I know the market very well. People don't want to work. So I watch that, right? Because guess what happens, right? Check this out. If someone takes out a loan for $100,000, right? I don't want to work no more. I'm going to go buy 100,000. I'm going to take $100,000 loan. I'm going to take a HELOC, right? A HELOC, home equity line of credit, on my house, and screw that. I'm going to go buy. So I'm going to work from home. I'm not going to open up a store, even though a lot of people opened up brick and mortar stores during COVID. And I'm going to sell stuff on eBay. I'm going to buy, trade. I'm going to go to these card shows. I'm going to hustle and bustle. I'm not going to punch in and out of work anymore. And but what do they have to do? They have to fill their store with inventory, right? So sales go through the roof. And what happens when sales go through the roof and a lot of money floods the market? People raise their prices. That's where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from greed, right? So you might say, "Oh, Jess, you're greedy." No, man, I'm not greedy, but I'm not going to sell my card for $5 if everyone else is selling it for 10. Okay, I'll sell it for 9 so I can make. But now, if I was selling it for 5 before and I bought it for 3, I was already making $2 on the card. But I noticed everyone else is selling it for 9, so for 10, I'll raise it to $9. Now I bought it for 2. I sold it for 6. I made 3x, 3.5x, 3.5x, right? And that's within a very short amount of time. So that's what I do. I have stuff, I save stuff, and then I watch the markets, and then I'll put them out into the world on a platform, and I'll sell it when I see that the prices went up. Now, the part where you might say, "Well, what's that have to do with your wife?" Because people who don't understand, I don't want to say she doesn't understand. Most people don't. So it's not her specifically, right? That's most people don't understand this unless you're in the world of commodities and tangible assets and hedges against inflation. Then you really it's difficult to grasp because you're not in it. How do you know what a runner feels like unless you're running? You don't. Right? You don't know about anything unless you're doing it yourself. You can watch as many videos on running and jogging as you want. You'll never experience it. Compa number 4. And the same thing goes with being an entrepreneur. You'll never know what it's like to be an entrepreneur unless you're an entrepreneur yourself. You take those risks and you learn about the specific category that you're into, and you learn every detail about it, and you learn how to make money, right? You have to learn how to make money in what you're doing, or you'll fail, right? Most businesses fail because people don't understand what it is that they're doing. Okay. So a lot of people think, right, with their hearts, and business has no nice misaligned die. Campaign number 5. Business has no feelings. It's a machine. Okay, it's not it might have organism like characteristics, but it's basically a machine. It's unfeeling, and it moves based on what's going on in the economy. Okay, so if you're a Democrat, you're an independent, you're Republican, you hate the other side, those things in themselves have nothing to do with the economy. Zero. You say, "Oh yeah, the Democrats are letting people in. That's ruined the economy." No, the people are coming in, and that affects the economy in one way or another. And if it affects your business in a positive way for people to be foreigners to be let into this country, then you're happy about that. And then you say you're a Democrat, but you're not a Democrat. You're just for their policy. And if you're for capitalism, you might say you're a Republican. Well, if you're a capitalism and you're for Republican, and the stock market crashes and Bitcoin goes to zero, and that's where all your money you're going to be pretty. You might not want to be a Republican anymore, right? So don't think like that. Don't think in terms of Democrat, Republican, Independent, or any other politics. Think in the terms of what it is you're doing, right? Like Yoda said, right? Always thinking about the future, never where you're at, what you're doing, right? Something like that, right? What you're doing now, what's going on with your business now. For those of you who want to be entrepreneurs, I'm saying. And then all of a sudden, none of that stuff matters except in the context of what you're doing. So, like I said, I don't invest in the stock market because I don't have that type of discrepancy. Is that what? Excuse me, discretionary money to just spend in the stock market. No, I spend my money on things I can touch, that I can have, right? That I know, that I trust: gold, silver, uh, vintage sports cards, Pokemon cards, jewelry, things that people want and will always want. That's what I invest. That's what I invest my money in. And if one of them's not doing well, if Pokemon cards stop doing well next year, but silver is doing great, then I'll get it. Then I'll sell some of my silver, and I'll always be selling things that are that are beneficial to my business. I don't care who's in power. There's certain personal things I might disagree with. Okay, but that hasn't, what my personal feelings have nothing to do with my business, though. I separate those two. And a lot of people can't do that. And that's why a lot of people fail in their businesses, because they let their personal feelings dictate their their financial brain. And those two things have no business with each other. Okay. So that's my lesson for all of you today. Okay. You have to separate. And it's not about being greedy, or it's not about that. It's about being successful. Okay. And right now, the stock market, I mean, by the time this video is shown, maybe the stock market made a correction and everybody's making trillions of dollars again. But as of me making this video, the stock market's crashing, gold and silver are through the roof. And so our sports cards and all this stuff, they're going through the roof. So this is my final pearl of wisdom for you to understand. Now, you might say to yourself, for those of you who are listening to me and say, okay, tangible assets, understanding your market, maybe even your niche market. Now, everything on the radio on the news is going to be, the economy is tanking, right? So they're lowering the interest rates because the economy is tanking, right? Okay. But the news is talking about the economy in relationship to the stock market. Only 5% of Americans of the world own like 90% of the stock market. And only 1% of the world own like the top tier, own like the most. Anyway, the point is, it's very few people. So the news that's going out to 100% of the world is really geared towards 5% of them, who are not even, well, they're not even really watching the news. They're watching charts. They're watching pie charts, spreadsheets. They're watching stuff like that. They're not really watching the news. They might have certain channels that they're interested in, but those 1%, they have their own algorithms that they watch. They're not watching what a sheeple are watching. Okay. So really, don't pay attention. All the stuff in the news, don't pay attention to that, man. It's not helping you out. Okay. So when stocks are doing bad, interest rates are coming down, inflation is going up, people start taking out loans to invest in tangible assets. When the economy, according to the news, quotation mark, is doing bad, people start to buy tangible assets. So if you have tangible assets, when the news says the economy is doing horrible, you're going to be doing great. Okay, so if you didn't understand, watch this whole video again. If you did not understand exactly what I said, watch the video again. Know why I am. Okay, because that is the whole ball of wax, the whole ball game right there. When the news says the economy is doing bad, and they're saying the economy is bad because of this political side or that political side, it's probably the best chance to make money if you have gotten into tangible assets when the economy's doing good. When the economy's doing good, people are taking their money and they're throwing it into the stock market. And yeah, and that's, and what's that? You take $10,000, you throw into the stock market. You could lose everything, right? You buy a Bitcoin for $100,000, it goes down to 15,000. You screwed up. All right, if it goes up to 1 million and then you sell, all right. How many people do you know in that situation? Be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody who's watching this video knows somebody in that position who bought Bitcoin at 15,000. I remember when Bitcoin was $350. And I was like, and I was actually considering buying it, and I should have bought it. Even if I would have sold it at 16,000, the low of the past 5 years, I would have made a tremendous amount. But it went up to $121,000 at one point. But that, you're talking about luck. You're talking about, don't base your financial future on luck. Okay? Because there was a million things to buy. And let me tell you something, and all the other things that no close AM, all the other things that I did buy at the same time as at that point in 2006, 2007, when Bitcoin was 350. Let me tell you something. Shaquille O'Neal, I was heavy into Shaquille O'Neal cards at one point, and I tell the story once in a while. There were Shaquille O'Neal cards that were like $3 and $4 in 2011 that are $1,500 today. Okay, in 2007, those cards were probably $1 or $2. Okay, so I would have made more money on buying those $2 Shaquille O'Neal cards in 2007 that are $2,000 today. Okay, if you want a specific example, essential. Look up Shaquille. Here, I'm gonna pause the video. I'm gonna look up Shaquille O'Neal essential credential cards. I'll be right back. Okay, I typed in Shaquille essential credentials. You can see it here on the top, right? There's only 6 cards on all of eBay. Shaquille essential credentials. Only 6 with that title. The first one you see is $97. This is the one out of, it says it right here. I'm not going to do this for all of them. It says it's out of 66. I know this card. This card was $1. Okay, in 1999, this was a $1 card. All right, it went up 100%. Someone's going to buy this card eventually for $97, and it's damaged. It has a crease there. If it didn't have if this was graded a 9, it would be like a $500 card. But because it's damaged, it's 100. Okay, so that was a $1 card. Okay, this is the one out of 2001. This was a $2. These were both $2 cards. All right, he's selling the printing plate with it. The problem with these older printing plates, if I click on it, I promise you the reverse doesn't have a sticker on it. Well, I don't want to promise you, but I'll click on it and I'll tell you, just to show you how much I know. I've never looked at any of these listings before. And see if they show the reverse. The reverse has no sticker. Okay, so a lot of people don't want these printing plates with no stickers because they made a lot of fake ones. And so it's really a no-brainer. He's putting it in there and he's trying to get someone to buy it. But here, it's numbered out of 2001. 201. This was a $3 card. Okay, he wants 450. If someone offers him $300 and he takes it, he made whatever the hell that is, 3,000% if he bought it for $1 or $2. Right? These cards were nothing. Okay, and I'm gonna assume, I'm not gonna do the math in my head, but between $400 and $20,000 is probably a very similar. It's probably a lower ratio than. So I'm talking about Bitcoin. If you bought Bitcoin at $400 and you sold it for 50,000, for example, that's probably a very similar ratio, or a higher ratio, a lower ratio than if you bought this card for 200 and you sold it. You bought it for $2 and you sold it for 300. Okay, you probably made more in a ratio wise for this card than you would for Bitcoin. All right, let's go back. So that's the first 2. This card right here is the card I always talk about. I bought this card for $5 in 2010 or 2011. I bought it for $5. It's a 2004 Essential Credentials. I bought this card for $5. Okay, I had that card right there. And a couple years later, I sold it for $60. And I remember jumping up and down and saying, because back then you made about $50 a day working. Okay, back in 2010, if you had a job, you made $50, $60, $70, $80. So I was like, wow, I bought this car for $5. I sold it for 10. Look what it's worth today. It's got 15 watches. If he put this card for $1,200, he'd probably sell it within a week or two. But he wants, he wants the maximum. He put it for a pretty high amount. $5 I bought that card for. All right, do the math. And that's the lowest three. Let's keep going. $3,500, $4,000, $10,000. Okay, this card was about $10, $20 in 2009. 2008 was about whatever, $30, $40, and it's probably a $6,000, $7,000 card. This is the power of tangible assets. Having some knowledge about the right? Like I knew Shaq was dope. He was playing. He had 4 championships. He was a surefire Hall of Famer, and I invested heavy into Shaquille O'Neal cards. I sold all my Shaquille O'Neal cards, and when I bought a piece of property. That was one of the biggest mistakes. I'm gonna go back down to the pennies. That was one of the biggest mistakes I ever made, was selling my Shaquille O'Neal collection to buy a house. Okay, because the house, I sold it for about 4 times what I paid, but I would have made about 200, 300 for, not percent, times. I would have made probably about 3,000 or 4,000, 5,000% on those Shaq cards. Instead of making 10, 20,000, I would have made probably about $500,000, $600,000 on a $20,000 investment, something like that. Had all those cards, crazy cards that I bought for $100 that today are selling for the. I could tell you one card right now, and again, I'm going a little bit long here because I'm just trying to push this thought to you. For those of you who, most of you are not familiar with what I'm talking about, and I'm just really trying to get this out there. Okay, so so let me show you the Shaquille O'Neal. I'm gonna tell you, this card was $150 in 2010, 2011. You can research what I'm telling you. Shaquille, it was his what was it called? Oh my God. Let me pause the video. Okay. This card here was about, in 2011, 12, was about $150, $200. This is the members only. This one might have been $250. They want 50 grand for it. That's a fake price. These cards were $50. This card was about $50 PSA 10. This card was like $40, $50 PSA 10. This card was like $30, $40 PSA 10. All of these autographed rookie cards graded, and this is a 9 auto. These were about $150, 2010, 11. These were like $15, $20. These were like, again, $50. These were $150 cards all day long. All of these rookie. This is the redemption card. All these cards were super, super cheap. Yeah, but the big one is the Beam Team. The Beam Team card, and this sells for an auction right now. I think it sells for like $8,000, $9,000 in auction. So he might have paid, I don't know what he paid for it. If he bought it recently, he might have paid $5,000 to $8,000, and he's going to see if he can get. He probably take 20, 30 grand for it, obviously, but you can still get it for like 8,000, 9,000. But this car was about 150, 200 to 250 back in 2011, 12. Okay, so you're not talking. You're only talking about 13 years ago, man. For that type, so that's what inflation has done to the economy. But still, $10,000 today is a lot of money, still. Anyway, so all the things that I'm talking about have nothing to do with politics, even though they claim this political group will claim credit if the economy does good, and that client and if the economy does bad, the other side will say that's your fault. That's all BS, man. Don't pay attention to none of that. Pay attention to what I'm talking about for your business. I'm not talking about your personal life. All right. If you can't separate your personal life from your business, this is why businesses fail. Okay. People, and this is copper penny number 7. Not a bad penny roll hunt. We got 7 copper pennies. This is why businesses fail. People make business decisions based on factors that are not business related. Okay. If your brother or your cousin's a drug addict, don't let them run your business. Oh, but I love them. I want to. Come on, man. It's just stupid, man. Don't be dumb when it comes to your business. Be a cold-blooded killer, right? Greed's got nothing to do with business. It's numbers, man. It's all numbers. It has nothing to do with being a good Christian, nothing like that. Be a good Christian. You love your neighbor. That's what being a good Christian is, loving your neighbor, following the words of Christ. That's being a good Christian. It's got nothing to do with it. And then, obviously the money lenders in church he didn't like, of course, don't, Christ said, don't do that. Keep his place holy, but it's unrelated though to business, right? It has nothing to do with those charts, those pie charts, those numbers, inflation. They're two separate things. You could be a lover. I love Christ, and I try to pay attention to the things that are going to affect my livelihood. No close AM. All right. So anyway, that was a super duper long video that probably a lot of people are not going to. I don't know. I don't know if a lot of people agree with me or disagree with me. Leave a comment below. Let me know what it is that what your tangible asset that you're into. Let me know if you understood or you appreciated the Shaquille O'Neal card analogy I showed, example, which is a real life example. Let me know if you're hoarding gold, silver. Let me know if you found any valuable pennies. We made money on today, right? These pennies I got here, those 7 pennies are probably worth the whole value of the rest of the pennies, right? So I made money on this penny roll. Every day I do a penny roll hunt. I make money every day on my penny roll hunt. Not much, but it's something. If I found some valuable pennies. I like that one that I found. Oh, I put what? I think it's over here. One of these pennies. Oh no. It's this. Is it this one? Oh, why is it shaking for? Uh-oh. Okay. Now the camera started. Oh no, don't do that. Oh, it's the let me pause. Yeah, this camera is getting old. I don't know if it's because I made such a long video. Anyway, I guess my point was I was going to talk about the value of the coin, but that's really tripping me out the way it's shaking like that. Looks like we're having an earthquake, right? But it's not. It's the camera. Anyway, yeah, leave a comment. God bless. I try to talk about things during my videos to make them a little bit more interesting. There's a lot of things that I have knowledge about that a lot of people out there, maybe it would give a better, or maybe people would enjoy hearing me talk about some of the things I talk about. If my wife watched this video to the end, I love you, honey bunny. And it's okay. We have very stimulating discussions about what's going on in the world, and sometimes we disagree, and that's normal. Right? Disagreeing is okay, right? Um, it's when people's political ideologies go beyond um, friendly disagreements that there's a problem, right? So that's one of the big issues with politics, is that people use them to um, to make other people think what they want to think. And anyway, there's a lot. I disagree with a lot of what's going on in the political arena. So I stick strictly to business, and I think it serves me well, and I think it'll serve you well too. I'll see you on the next. This is episode. I think it's 652. Yeah, 652. I'll see you in episode 653.